Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Last time we started, Michael posted a question that we are going to continue in this episode. So, if you've not seen the
Yeah,
last episode, you can go back and go watch it, and you can then come back to this episode to like watch that. So, Michael, can you ask your question again?
drum rolls. Hi guys. So this is the question of the century. Are you closer or farther away from marriage? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is marriage and maybe a serious like commitment, romantic commitment, and one is the streets, which some of us are on. Are you? Where are you? Are you five? Are you seven? Are you 10?
I think it's a packed question, right? Because I might just give a number, but I want to give a context. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think that I know that I'm going to marry soon. Like there is a more like because I like to think I'm pragmatic, and if I'm going to marry,
Yeah,
it's better I marry soon. So there's like a timeline pragmatic sense of like, oh, this is this, and this should like in terms of like
yeah.
8 or 9, that kind of it's
Mm-hmm.
like in some
Oh, you're
sense I want
nine
to marry.
already.
It's
Marriage being 10.
maybe like eight like or seven because in
Hey,
some sense I want to
God, I
marry like
beg. Oh.
around like 30, like or not before
Yeah.
30, more or less, that
Oh,
kind of
you
thing.
don't have time.
Do you get? But it's more
Yeah.
like I think I was telling Michael that marriage seems like because in some sense it's not so much about like wedding ceremony. It's so much about like what it says about your
Mm-hmm.
stage in life. Because in my head, I still think I'm still that small kid, more or
I
less. Like,
felt that. I felt that when
Yeah.
Michael asked the question because I was like, we're already talking about marriage. We're talking about jump at some point in our life. Why are we talking about
Yeah.
marriage?
right? So in my
Life
head,
goes
it's
on.
thinking more like
Yeah.
marriages, right? I've not come. I don't think I've come to the reality of the fact that I'm the age that
Mhm.
I am, like that I'm
Yeah.
going to be 27 this year. I still
Yeah.
feel like,
Oh,
bro,
we're going to be 27 this year. I didn't even
yeah.
know. Oh, interesting.
And it's like, oh Lord, what is going on here? Right?
Let
So
me tell you. Let me.
I think that's more about that. But in terms of like
Okay.
marriage and stuff, I still think like I want
Yeah.
to marry on like 30 around that time.
So you're like on 8.5. Let me ask you a question. Let's remove the word marriage. Do you put, I mean, I think you've done this, is semblance of this before, but do you see yourself, do you think you would be comfortable in a romantic relationship with somebody, a committed one, where you guys are like sort of cohabiting, like a two-bedroom apartment, they have their room, you have your
Oh
room,
yeah, I think I
they have
would
a
be.
job, obviously.
Yeah, I
That
think I
would
would
be
be. Yeah.
okay. Okay, so what's the difference between that and marriage in your brain?
I don't know.
Kind of like
It's generation of
do we
everything.
need to dig in or not? Do we need to, because I feel like there's a
There's
lot
no
to dig
digging
in.
in. It's just a lot of like societal no, it's there's nothing to dig into like societal construct about like how big
Yeah.
marriage is. Do you get like so I was listening to like a podcast by Steve, the one that like the one on relationships
Steve
somewhere. You probably
McQueen.
know that one.
Oh, Steve Bartlett.
So yeah,
Bartlett.
yeah. And then it was like he doesn't want to like do like a wedding ceremony or marry or something because it's more like
Mhm.
why should a piece of paper prove that is committed to this person and
Yeah.
all those kind of things, right? Like
Hmm.
so but at the sense it's more like it's that old it's like the way we think about like marriage, even talking about it's like
I feel like that event, I feel like if we could potentially, I mean, obviously, if you're still towing the line of Christianity, you would have to have an event that, I don't know, to be honest, people say only your parents have to be there, according to the Bible, I think. But I'm honestly not sure. But I think you would have to have a moment where you're married and you're unmarried and everything. But the way I've been able to demystify or bring marriage down from the pedestal that it is to look at it from the way I've been with people, someone that I've been cohabiting with. And I see that it was so like I feel like I would constantly pick it over dating without cohabiting. And I'm not saying cohabiting like is I'm not encouraging anything. I just know that if I'm with someone and I'm dating someone and I visit all of those things, spend 1 week here, spend 2 weeks at their place, all of those things. It's so it's so full as an experience. It feels like a full experience for me. Such that when I look at marriage from that point of view, it begins to make more sense to me and begins to feel less scary because when I had this, it was fun. So do you get it? So it's like if I'm married to this person now, this is what we're going to be having. The moment I think about the other things, like maybe it lasts forever. You have to be changing maybe name or something. You have to fill documents. You have to meet their parents' side. They have to meet your parents. All of those things. It
Yeah.
becomes a bit stressful to me.
Yeah, I
So
think
it's
that's the
like,
stressful part.
yeah,
All
it
that
becomes,
intertwining that goes into
yeah,
the because if you're dating someone
yeah.
like and you guys are even cohabiting together, like
Mhm.
in some sense, I don't know, which I think is the whole point of marriage in some sense, right? Is
It
that
is.
there's that full stop, like I don't know, there's like that sense of hugeness to it. Do you get like
Samuel, what
There's
do
a
you think?
grand
I
feeling
think
to
people
it.
would get this. I think people would probably
Um,
understand what we are
They
saying. Like
have to.
there's that.
Yeah.
I think it changes the yeah, there are obviously like parts of it, like when you think about the drastic decision making processes that have to happen, like name change or we want to buy properties, we have to consider how the properties would be bought. We are together now, so we need to show it. So how do we show that it can be like how do we
Mm-hmm.
show there's the part of the mental they're thinking about how all of these things come together. I want to buy a land,
Mm-hmm.
I want to buy a property. How
Yeah.
do I do this while recognizing
Mm-hmm.
my commitment to this other person?
Yeah.
At the same time, there's also the point of then the law and making sure that there's a standard because not there are some countries in the world that actually recognize this like relationships that are commitments,
Yeah.
but they are like spouse like you're
Are
muted.
you sure you're muted? Though? So you have to unmute yourself to talk.
Oh, sorry. Most Western countries recognize it's called I'll remember.
Basically, your
Com-
baby is a proper person.
yeah,
Like it.
like you have a committed relationship more or less.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
let
yeah.
me
It's also
see.
like Samuel, what you just said now. It's like this thing is, and I'll explain why I think it's so psychological. Because you're talking about things like, oh, getting a land, getting a house, getting a business. You know, you could potentially get a land with friends, and you're not necessarily worried about the fact that you guys are not joining the same surname or married. You just know that the legal documents, whatever is
Mm-hmm.
binding, whatever. If anybody wants to run away, there are laws to. So
Yeah,
I don't think I feel like ultimately it is still like a mind thing. Because if me and you and Samuel
that
maybe
was what
decide
I
to get
was
a land together,
common
get
law
property
partner. That's what it's
in the
called.
UK,
Common law
uh,
partner. Yes.
yeah, if we decide to get the property together in the UK, for example, maybe that will be generating rent or something. I don't think we'll have to. We're nobody thinking about it. We need to be coupled together. Maybe Mass will create an entity or something, and we'll get it done. You get so it's like, of course, yeah, it helps if you're married to be able to do all of this things, but you don't need to. It's also like that. There's some what makes marriage a big deal. Apart from the fact that obviously it is a big deal in a way, is also this the way it has been pictured over time, such that
Mm-hmm.
it becomes people are scared to enter it, and then when they enter it, they feel like I don't know how to explain. It feels
Like
less
they're
of a
stuck or what?
yeah, if yeah, I don't know. It feels less of
It feels
a
like
playful. It feels less of fun for some people. I feel like
mm,
some people have been able to act marriage as a continuing or a continuity of their relationship. I think that those are the
Yeah,
people
yeah,
that
a
probably have gotten it
continual
right.
dating and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but I think for most people it's difficult to picture that because first of all, your parents were obviously not
it's a
mirroring that.
checkpoint.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but the only way it works for my brain is to actually is to decenter the whole marriage thing and just imagine that there's someone I like. I want to be with this person for as long as possible, and I want
Mm-hmm.
to actually live with in the same house as this person. Would I want to do it? Yes. Have I done it before? Yes. Was it fun? Was it exciting? Yes. Does this look like what marriage would look like? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Without all the encumberments, they get it. Which ultimately that's eventually what it will look like on a daily basis. On a daily basis, you
Mm-hmm.
won't be signing documents.
Yeah.
You won't be signing documents. On a daily basis, is you waking up together, making breakfast, everything, going to work, coming back again, and repeating that for 50 years. I think it's when you say it that way, it doesn't look so. I don't know how to explain it. It's
You're
just like
making a really strong
it's a
argument here.
mind
Yeah,
thing,
like
and it's so
Oh,
annoying to me
I
that
mean,
it's a
I
mind.
think, I
I think
think, I
everybody
think it's
knows
obviously.
this. It's
I think
like,
everybody knows that it's a mind
yeah,
thing, right? Because
how to
in some sense,
combat that is the problem.
no,
yeah,
not
I think.
everybody knows it though.
I mean, in some sense, I think it's like it. In some sense, it doesn't materially change. Like your relationship doesn't materially change, right?
Yeah,
I mean, except it's like not been having sex and now you guys are having sex, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
but in some sense, it doesn't materially change, right? Like you guys go
Mm-hmm.
on dates together, which you should still
Mm-hmm.
continue to do. You should
Yeah.
continue to go on dates together. You should still continue to
Mm-hmm.
do all the fun things you guys have been doing while you're dating, stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's already this decades of idea of like things we've built around marriage, right? And it's also like
Mm-hmm.
the way we've seen marriage change people or change
Mm-hmm.
dynamic relationship dynamic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's also like part of those things that add to whatever you're thinking about. So yeah, well,
Yeah.
Samuel has not answered the question about
It's
readiness, anyways.
yeah.
Why?
Israel is
No,
eight
wait,
point five.
it was about Israel.
Israel
No,
already
it wasn't
responded
about
now.
me. Oh. It was
It
about
was,
everybody.
it was about
Oh, it
you.
was about. It was about. No, I was asking for
It was a
everyone.
general question. It was a
Why are
podcast
you?
episode question. Why are you
That's
pushing
that's so weird.
responsibility?
Your level of defensiveness is so scary.
How
That's
was
so
it about
unnecessary.
me? Like, how was it about me?
Like
Because you were asking about like, I don't even know, but okay, I would answer.
someone,
I will answer the
someone is
question.
literally melting on screen on
No,
camera.
I I will say actually I'm gonna say I'm at a 5 compared to
Mm.
where I was probably at a 1 or maybe 2. I was now. And
Mm.
actually prior to this call, I was actually talking about it with someone, right? And I was talking about the um how it feels like. And I feel like
Mm.
repeating, like, I don't know if he's repeating the same chorus or I'm singing the same thing again. Like I'm just saying the same thing. Um, it feels, it feels like a box or a container of just, you're being, like this is now having a marriage, right? That's where that comes from. It feels like you are in a box where, and my problem with it was just a thing of I feel like I'm already like dabbling down, but I'm going to stop my thoughts and just say 5.
Mm.
I'll say
No, no,
5.
no.
But
I
why
think
is
you've
it five?
expressed.
You need
Yeah,
to
we need
explain
to give
five
us
because
context.
you need to give us context on why it's five.
Okay, so basically, I was I've always had this not always, but most recently I had this like this block when it comes to relationship or anything about commitment. And I've been trying to figure out why that is. And one of the things I found
Mm-hmm.
out is how it's basically about the topic of boundaries. And I typically, when you think about relationships, um,
Mm-hmm.
at least where we came from. And Michael, we need to recognize first that you are an outlier when it comes to this thing. So I don't want
Mm.
you need to recognize that fact. You don't think the way the
Yeah,
average
go ahead.
guy thinks. Okay.
Mm.
Now, the when you think about it, they say things like, "Oh, date intelligently, marry, what's the word? Date intelligently and love blindly." Yes. Or they say things like, "Oh, if you are dating someone, um, basically they're just saying there's just a thing of where they're like, oh, when you're dating someone, you have to look at the good things about them and not the
Mm.
bad things about them, right?"
Mm.
And my question or my own problem, when my reservation then comes in, is the fact that how do you recognize when the bad thing that
Mm-hmm.
the bad thing, how do you recognize that the bad thing is not negotiable and it's actually important? Especially when they are like very minor things, right? So
Yeah.
for example, let me give, so I love singing, right? I don't necessarily think I know how to sing excellently, right? But I love
Mm.
singing and I will keep
Yeah.
singing as much as I can, right?
Yeah.
If I have a partner that keeps saying things like your singing sucks or
Yeah.
just don't sing or something, like just minor things, even though I don't sing all the time, but if I sing around them they say
Mm.
that, it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of a minor thing when you think about the fact that this person shows up for me or this person is always
Mm-hmm.
there for me, this person cares for me, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
though this is one part of myself that I value,
Mm-hmm.
it's not serious because it's something
Yeah.
that if you go meet someone and say that, oh, we broke up, why did you break up? Oh, because she said that my
Because they
singing
didn't like
sucks.
my singing, they will
Do you
drag you
get,
Hmm.
on
like,
Twitter.
it makes sense, but
Yeah.
it's something that is important to me. So it's like that boundary is
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Okay.
in the
I
like,
think I want to respond to that, and I have a question after this. You guys should remind me. It's a question from Twitter, but I want to ask you guys.
okay,
I think so. Again, I don't. So the problem, I think, the problem with marriage, or maybe not a problem, but a feature, is that when you're making such a a significant decision about who you want to spend the rest of your life with, what is relevant is relative. If you think
Mm-hmm.
if you think it matters to you, then it matters. There's no,
Yeah.
for example, if you're singing, I don't think I would ever tell you you're singing songs. I would not obviously not be those people on Twitter that be like, oh my god, somebody you're the best singer in the world. Oh my god. And it would just be like, we'll just laugh. Like it would just be fun. It would just be one of those
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that Samuel keeps doing. Do you get it? Like it's just like Samuel is always singing, you don't mind that one. Like it's just like it's one of those things. Do you get
Mhm.
it? Like it's not going to be something that I would be like, oh, if you want to get better with your singing, you should probably do this. Like, because I know you're not trying to build something out of it. It's just a
Yeah. Yeah.
fun hobby.
It's just
Do you get
something
it?
you like doing.
Yeah.
The way your friends like take this hobby, this interest that you have, should be close to the way your partner would take it. They should take
Mm-hmm.
it like they don't care. Like it's not like they don't care about it, but like it's just one of the things that somewhere does. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they might even see, oh my god, I saw these people singing in the park today, and I thought about you. Doesn't mean they think you will ever have a
Yeah.
musical
Yeah.
career. They just roll with it. They get it. They don't need to say your music sucks. I don't know if you get it. Like it's like Israel writes poetry, and I
Yeah.
will not be going to Israel's poetry to be judged and be like, oh, by the way, the metaphor here, what the hell? Like that's not it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you get it. It's like
Yeah.
I do design sometimes somewhere, and I show you my
Mhm.
designs and everything, and you've never told me that oh your design sucks. You probably say, oh, this is good. You want to change this color to this. If you can find this in friendship, you can obviously find it in a partner. So it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reason why it's not even small is also because this is the last thing I'll say. That thing will eventually begin to affect maybe your self-esteem or how you want to
Yes.
express
Yeah.
other
Yes.
things.
So
I,
that
I,
is
Yeah.
I I think I
that's
think what that does is that, and I'm also going to respond to in some sense to what Sam said. I think
wait. Let
when
me before you
someone
finish Israel.
yeah,
Can I
Yeah.
finish my thoughts on that? Right on this
Yeah.
one
Sure.
before,
let me
'cause I feel
write
like
it
I
down so that I don't
yeah.
forget.
Well,
Yeah,
I
but
have all this
continue.
written down here with Vim.
It's just going to be a
Yeah.
quick one. So basically, the
Yeah.
problem then becomes when I recognize, or if in the case where I recognize or I don't recognize that these things are a problem,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The question then becomes: is it a strong enough reason to want to leave? Right? Because there are reasons that we have, like I have grown up around, like reasons that you would leave a relationship or something. Oh, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and even this one is for some people it's very subjective, but we are learning or we've been exposed, so we know it's
Mm-hmm.
different. So you see people that will say endure an abusive relationship,
Mm-hmm.
verbal, mental, physical
Yeah.
abuse. They'll tell you to endure it, right?
Stay for the
Like
children. Yeah.
infidelity, exactly. I say exality. Exactly.
Yeah.
Infidelity is one of those
Mm-hmm.
things too. You know, like some people will say that and they're like, oh, every man cheats, and then they make that the
Mm-hmm.
narrative. Basically, you see,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like if people stay for those extremes, imagine how weird it would
Mm-hmm.
then be when you're like, and I'm not saying anyway, how it's going to be when you're not like, oh, I left because she,
Yeah.
I don't know, she said
Yeah.
that my voice sucks. So it's like, and
Mm.
also then recognizing the fact that when you are dating someone or you are with
Yeah.
someone,
Yeah.
you have as much chance to love them as you have more chance to hurt them. So you at some point could be a bad person or a terrible person
Yeah.
in their story because you would probably break their heart. Now that's
Yeah.
something that practically scares me and I don't want to do it. But that's it. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
stop.
So I think
Israel.
what the first thing that I'm going to say is that C.S. Lewis wrote this thing where it was like I'm just going to paraphrase, but I can always
Mm-hmm.
like share that with you. But you've probably seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like just to start from where you ended. It's more like when you. It's more like now that you give love a chance, you also give chance to getting hurt, right? But love
Yeah.
is a beautiful thing. It's more like when you open the door for a good thing, you in some sense open the door for a bad thing too, because there's the chance for that bad thing to also happen. So it's not like if you don't want the good thing, like if you are saying, oh, you don't want the bad thing, then you don't want the good thing also. Like just
Mhm.
paraphrasing more or less,
Yeah.
right? So that's one thing, right? So you want us to come to realize that getting hurt, right? Because with what happened with me and the last person that we talked about, like it was like I was sad, like I was like, do I want to do this again? Like after it, I was like, do I want to start talking to people? Because it's like, oh shit, like because I was like, I you know I've asked this question multiple times, like how
Mm-hmm.
many times, how
Can we
long
do
can
this
one
stuff?
continue to bear those mini heartbreaks,
Yeah.
right? Because they are like mini heartbreaks that
Mm-hmm.
some of them are worse than the other, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh fudge, like all those things, right? So it's not like
Yeah.
on the path to finding one person, how
Mm-hmm.
long do I want to bear this heartache for, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna talk to someone for like 6 weeks, and then
Yeah.
this is so close to him, and then you're like, it's like, I mean, it's now I'm getting sad, but it's like you talk to someone consistently for 6 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's just like it's over, and it's like fudge, right? But it's also like for you to find that thing, like for you to find that thing that you cherish, then it means you have to get hurt along the way, right? Because it's also like, I don't think it's also like you want to date someone or start talking to someone without you trying to give your all
Yeah.
to them. Do you get? Because that also doesn't help you building whatever you want to build. But it's also like the fact that you build your all, even though you don't know whether this is going to work out or not, that's already a problem. Like that, like so, and the same thing works in a relationship. The fact that you start dating someone now doesn't mean that you guys will date forever, or that you guys will marry or something, right? Or the fact that you marry someone now because we're talking about marriage doesn't mean that you
Mm-hmm.
guys will stay married forever. And it's more like
Mm-hmm.
if you put all your all in it and you give that love. So
Mm-hmm.
summarily, the fact that you give chance to love also means that you give chance to
You
heartbreak.
give chance to, but you
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
can't go into the relationship hoping to come out of. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So, but the other thing that I was going to say is that, which is something you've always alluded to, you're always talking about like our relationship is a bondage and all those kind of things. In some sense, you alluded to it in some, but the way you put it now, it's like it's.
It's evolved.
I would say it's evolved. It's better, and you put it in the sense of like the other person. So you are you like everybody's growing, which is
Proud
nice.
of you.
It's like
Yeah.
now you talk about it in the sense of like someone invading into your boundaries, right?
Yeah.
And I think setting healthy boundaries is also what makes an healthy relationship, right? Setting boundaries, the fact that you're dating someone doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to say that, oh, I want this thing, like I like
Hmm.
these things to be done this way. Can you
Yeah.
please, as my partner, do it this way, right? Like,
Yeah.
can you? I like singing. Can you not say that I suck? Do you
Naked
get?
is just an hopeless romantic. His entire body's posture is just giving.
I love this
Like
conversation
it
so
was
much.
almost
So
gushing when we
Right?
were talking
I'm
about
I'm
that.
taking notes. I have
Yeah,
Twitter threads to write after today. Go ahead.
yeah. So I think like the boundaries, like you being able to like tell your partner, which also comes to the part of communication, right? Because you also shouldn't be scared of like saying that, oh babe, you told me that I sucked. Can you please not tell me that I suck? Maybe,
Yeah.
right? Can you please not tell me that I suck again? So it's about like communicating what you value, which in some sense the other person doesn't necessarily have to value it, right? It's like I don't necessarily have to value you singing, but I shouldn't be able to say that, bro, you suck. I can even make it playful the way we do it. Like I know that I'm not the best singer, but in some sense to push, I can be like, I can sing better than you, although maybe I
Oh,
don't believe it, or maybe I believe it. You know
I'm
that
taking music class, by the way.
maybe I'm using this way to escape from the competition we started.
Yeah, I
But
was gonna say that. There is no
I'm just letting
escaping
you
that.
know. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
There's
yeah,
no
doing it, and
escaping
I'm
that.
taking music class.
yeah. But in some sense, it's saying like it's communicating to the person. I'm like, I know I'm not the best singer. I'm not Ed Sheeran or something,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
like singing. Don't tell me that I
Mm-hmm.
suck. I know that I'm not
Yeah.
the best dancer, but I enjoy the little dancing that I do. Don't tell
Yeah.
me that I suck at dancing. You know
Yeah.
that kind of. So communicating, setting boundaries is a huge thing that I think we've. It's one of the things I'm also learning. It's like we've over time thought that you setting boundaries means that you don't like the person. But I think setting boundaries helps your relationship to grow, right? It helps you to say that, oh, babe, when you come to my house, after when you want to flush the toilet, please close the lid, right? And then flush it then, right? Or if there's like, if you are my friend and you come like and your rod like put on this everywhere, please clean it. You know, that kind of thing. That's setting
Yeah.
boundaries. I shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
then be like, oh, because Michael is my best friend, and oh, he only
Mm.
comes once every other month. So every time he
Mm-hmm.
pisses, then I have to wash the toilet and I have to do like that.
Yeah.
Over time, that builds resentment, right? And
Yeah.
I
I
think
don't want you
that's
in the
some
house over time.
yeah, over you don't. Or it's more like when because now we are friends. When Michael we're in a relationship, when Michael is like, "Oh, I'm coming," you're like, "This guy's coming again,"
Ah,
and you're
we're
like
back again.
detesting him coming. Do you get? So I
Yeah.
think setting boundaries help to make things healthy, right? And
Yeah.
it also helps you grow. And then what's the last thing that I was gonna say? But I think there's also a place of being able to compromise on some boundaries, right? Like it shouldn't be, which we didn't say in the last episode, but it shouldn't be my way or the
Or the
highway.
highway.
Do
It's
you
the
get?
coat of the year.
Code of the we started. So it shouldn't be my way or the highway, right? I
Hmm.
think we also need to learn to. This is also a message for myself, anyway, which I've
It's
also
so
been learning to
hilarious
this.
that this is coming from Israel.
Israel, I'm
Yeah,
growing. You see,
there's so
this
much
good.
growth happening in
Yeah.
this podcast, and we're life
So
skills. That's actually
yeah.
what
So
makes it
it's
good.
like it's being able to like compromise on some things and be like, oh,
Mhm.
say you're, for example, I like my apartment to be cold, and say my babe comes, right? And it's like, oh, babe, do you want to reduce the temperature, or I can give you a jacket, or it's stuff like that, right? I think being able to like compromise on things also up relation. So, but Michael, over to you. And we are like on 27 minutes mark, and your video is out of focus.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know, right? I feel like so. I mean, I wrote something down here, and I agree with what Israel said about boundaries. 100%, right? I feel like I used to think about it that are there things that I do or I'm always particular about that are like the reason why I'm going to die on the streets. Like all this, oh, I want this way, I want this that way. But it's also like, do you know why I don't think that is the case? Because when I meet people, I respect their boundaries. Do you get it? Like, no, it can't be. That can't be the reason because I'm so happy to respect people's boundaries. It's like I'm
Mm-hmm.
also not trying to change you. Like I'm very cautious about not changing people. Like somebody might tell me that I do it to an excess. Because the person was like, oh, you're not particular about your recommendations to me. And I'm like, if I like a movie, people would know.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't make you watch my movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it. Like, for example, now when I liked Severance and Silo, I told you guys, if somebody decides to pick it up and they realize that they like it, we can bond on it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, it doesn't mean we won't bond on other things. But
Mm.
there's this thing that I think maybe some ladies like to do where they want to make you watch their movie. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe if they're into K drama or something. The funny thing
Yeah.
is that I can survive it for like maybe a few of those, but it can't be consistent because it's also
And that
like
builds resentment. I think that's the
yeah, because
problem.
yeah, if there's a particular one that you've been looking for and you want us to watch together, I mean, I can watch now. Maybe it's like
Yeah, yeah.
next I'll probably watch around that next quarter or something.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't particularly enjoy those kind of movies, and you're constantly making me watch them because you feel like, oh, it's also like, why are you making me watch them? Because apparently now we're not being selfless again.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Because I'm ready to compromise on watching one of this every other this thing. But it's like if this is something that you bond with your friends, you can hold on to that with your friends. Like I don't, it doesn't have to be like, for example, I'm surprised that Samuel had never watched Harry Potter until this year, which
Mm-hmm.
means we never bonded on Harry Potter until this year, and it was not obvious. Like there was no gap that oh, when you will not watch Harry Potter. Like, I don't know if you get it. And it's like there are other things that obviously, maybe, for example, I think everybody has watched Game of Thrones. We can
Mm-hmm.
always bond on Game of Thrones. It's like you don't need to make me like this whole thing about trying to you met somebody, but you want to now shape them into what they are not. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a fine balance because obviously you have to tell people, oh, could you do this, could you do that, and everything. But if it's already affecting the core, for example, if I meet someone that likes the kind of movie I don't like now, I really don't mind. Maybe they like K drama or something. It's fine. There are some blockbusters that we all watch together, like
Yeah.
Man,
Oppenheimer or
God.
something.
Yeah.
Like Oppenheimer, everybody's going to
Oh,
watch that one.
sorry.
It's not
Yeah,
a
man.
matter of
I
maybe
haven't watched it.
You see, these are the
okay,
issues.
can you see? As far as
Those
yeah, as far as but yeah, I
are
think
the
another thing I want
issues.
to say in relation to what Israel said is that I'm learning to also teach people. I think I've said this last episode. Teach people about what I want because I feel like I'm used to my friends, you guys knowing already. Like you guys just get it. You guys just know. Like, you just know that if you're in my house and you wake up, the first thing to do is not to be engaging me in a conversation. Because I'm not there yet. Like, I've not woken up. Even though I'm moving around, like, I've not yet
Mhm.
woken up. It's going to take like 1 hour before I can be useful to society. But I don't need to tell you guys because you guys already know. But I feel like sometimes when you start dating someone, you expect them to know these things and then they don't. And you probably need to say it maybe once or twice, maybe not just once, for them to catch it. And sometimes it feels very, makes you feel like you are needy sometimes. For example, now, instead of
That's a
telling
good
Samuel to
point.
say, can you not tell me that I suck? I'm sure it's so humbling
Can you
because
know
it's
Yeah,
what?
like, can you not tell me that I suck?
Oh
Because
yeah.
it's like, it takes a lot of, I don't know, maybe it's a man thing, maybe it's an ego thing, but it takes some willpower to be able to say, babe, I feel like I don't, yeah, can you compliment me? It's also
some
like,
sense of vulnerability to be like,
yeah,
can you
yeah,
not do this, please?
for you to say that, can you not tell me that I suck? And people say things like, oh, you have to say it then. There's no point. But I don't agree. I used to say that, but I don't agree anymore.
I
But I
was
don't
gonna
think
let.
that thing is true.
I
I
think
don't think that
I
thing
Yeah.
is
think I sent a
true.
post. I think I sent a post
Uh,
about that. Like, and I loved this girl's take on it. Like, I
What
sent
did
it
she
on
say?
Instagram, but Michael will not see
Okay.
because it's not on Instagram. This is me throwing shit at him.
Is it Instagram or
I didn't
TikTok? Is
tell
it
him
Instagram or TikTok?
it
no,
was
there's
not
no
TikTok.
TikTok.
It's
Don't
Instagram.
send anything on TikTok.
There's no
I'm no
TikTok.
longer on
It's
TikTok.
Instagram.
I,
So
I
it's not
respond to
TikTok.
you. Go ahead.
It's Instagram.
With the cast.
So here's the thing, right? I was going to
Yeah.
say that ladies do this a lot, and I've seen it on like dating profiles
Mm-hmm.
and
If they
stuff. They'll be
wanted
like,
Mm-hmm.
to, you
if you wanted to, he would, or it's
Mm-hmm.
like I shouldn't be telling you what you should do
mm,
or something like that.
yeah,
Number one is like all of us are adults. Number two is that all of us grew up with
different. Yes,
different
yes,
ways and different expectations and
yes,
Yeah.
different things that we want. Like you can't meet
yes,
the same guy that wants the same thing as the guy you dated in the past, right?
yes.
So you need to tell me that, oh, babe, I want us to hang out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say this, but I will tell you guys later of the record.
Yeah.
But something
Yeah.
happened, and I was like so pissed because I will probably have to get to the story to make it make
To
sense.
make
But
the
it was
point.
more like,
Yeah.
yeah, but it was more like we are all adults, right?
Yeah.
You should be able to say, oh, babe, I want this. And then
Yeah.
it now becomes my problem if I now don't do it, right? And if
Yeah.
you don't also communicate your expectations, what you expect
Yeah.
from me in a
Yeah.
relationship, I do what I
Yeah.
am used to doing. Do you
Yeah.
get? Because that's the way I like. I've done more than almost 3 decades of my life doing things in a certain way, and then I meet
Yeah.
you, random person. You've also done like more than 2 decades of your life, or almost
Mm-hmm.
3 decades of
In
your life doing things also
in a
in
certain
a
way.
certain way.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, like I've met different girls that like different things. Like the last person that
Mm.
we're talking was like she doesn't like anything elaborate. If I want to ask her out, like we can be in the living room and I'll be like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And
Yeah.
Bob is your uncle, and everybody moves
Yeah.
on with their life. But for some
Yeah.
other people, it's like you need to make sure
You have
that
to,
it's fancy. We go to a
yeah,
restaurant.
Yeah.
I tell
Flowers
them beforehand that I'm going to ask my girl
so they
out
can dress up.
so they can dress up, stuff like that. To ask for girlfriend though. And it's like for me,
yeah.
the way me I wanted to do it is like,
Samuel,
let
you're
me
not
ask you
ready.
in the corner of my room. But that's the thing, right? But that's the interesting thing is that there are actually girls that don't want these elaborate things, which is the point
Mm,
that I'm
Yeah.
trying to make. And there are people that want the elaborate thing, right? So you
Yeah.
need to be able to tell me that, oh, babe, what I like is elaborate. And then it now
Yeah.
becomes my problem to be like, babe, I can't do elaborate.
To be honest, I
Let
think you
us
can even do it because it's like, do you know, I'm willing to
which is the
compromise on because it's
compromise,
not just,
which
it's
is
not
which
one
is
thing.
exactly which is
It's
where the
never going to
compromise
happen
comes
again.
in.
I'll
Exactly.
gladly do it.
Do you get which is
no,
where the
no, no, no,
compromise
no.
which is where the compromise comes in, right? Because it's like for
Yeah.
something like that, it's like fuck it, like
It's a
I'm just gonna do it.
one
It's
off.
like
It's
so
never going
one
to
of
happen
like
again.
yeah,
And I would definitely do it.
do you get
Like,
like
bro, I will do it the exact way you want
the
it. Like,
exact way you want?
it might be devoid of any creativity from my end
Do
because
you
my
get?
definition of creativity is not your definition. No
It's
problem.
not your
The one,
definition.
if I will even hire, if I have to hire somebody, an event planner to do it, I will do it the exact way you want it. Because I
Exactly.
know that
Yeah.
once we're done, we can continue living our lives. Like, do you get it?
And yeah.
You've put this thing on a pedestal, your proposal, you've looked forward to it, you've imagined it in your head,
Yeah,
you've
you've
had
planned it
plans
in
and
your head,
everything.
you've done everything.
I never think about my proposal. I've never thought about what I would wear to propose to
Yeah,
somebody.
I'm
Never.
just like, let's
So
just be happy and
yeah, but
merry.
if you want this whole thing, you want us to ask Yenny to be our photographer and everything. To
Yeah,
be honest, fairs, they get it. in like a week we'll be done, and we will
Yeah.
all move on into the relationship. That's a compromise that I can make. But something that is recurring,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much I would want to make that kind of compromise. And also, like, I get what you're saying about all those people that say, "Oh, if you have to say it, then there's no point." But to be honest, you have to say it at least once or twice. To be
At least
honest, because
once or
it's like
twice, right?
yeah, I don't know these things. It's like it's also like I'm not also all these people that read signs and everything. I'm like, oh, you should have known. Like, actually, you should have spoken
And
because it's
that
like
was the point that the girl was making, that you're saying if the man
like
wanted to, he would have done it. But it's like, if you also wanted it, you would have asked.
Like
you could
something.
have people. I feel like people. There's a lot about, and you guys might be saying I'm digging into it so much, but there's a lot about people being used to non-verbal communication because they can't request for things maybe from maybe their parents or
Yeah,
something. They
yeah.
are not used to asking for things and
Asking for
getting it,
things.
so they have
Yeah.
to go through all the corner. For example, now maybe
Manipulations
you want
and like,
exactly maybe you want to ask something from your parent, then you don't eat lunch. Like you
yeah,
know, jail.
exactly. It's like,
You
exactly.
will not be like, mommy, can you
And it's
just
also
like
like, if something is wrong with you, you're like, oh, is something wrong with you? And you're like, oh, I'm okay. And you're like, you expect me to be like, oh, are you not seeing the way that I'm responding? It's like,
but
babe,
so
I
like
asked you
you
10
one has
times.
to happen. I either have to take your word for it or not. If I notice that you are probably feeling up, I can still ask again. But it's like what I'm still going to do is to ask.
Is to
Like I don't know if
ask.
you get it. Like
Do
I,
you
I
get it?
have
It's
to
like, I'm still
trust
going to
that
ask.
you can maybe try for me to communicate and say, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not feeling so great right now. Do you get it? But if it is for me to already surmise, and also it's also like it will take time for me to be able to surmise that something is wrong with you from your
Exactly.
expressions. It's not
Exactly.
going, for example, I can guess if I'm or if maybe if I'm offline for a day now. I don't think you guys think it's a red flag because I
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
go on this thing. Maybe it's become when I become offline for like 5 days. You can begin to say, where's Michael? Do you get
Yeah,
this? Is
yeah.
now becoming the usual depressive offline. Do you get it? So it's like it takes time for you to be able to track the whole cycle and figure out that okay, if it's 5 days, something is
This is
wrong.
what
If
this
it's
person
one
is
day,
like.
nothing is wrong.
Exactly.
So it's like I can't discover all that in 3 months of talking
For
or
sure.
in 6 months of talking.
Yeah,
The only way
yeah.
that it will work in 6 months is to use our mouth and the languages that we
And
have
talk
learned as
about it.
kids
Yeah.
to communicate.
Yeah.
Someone is looking like
I mean,
there's no
lastly,
comments
before
from your end.
Samuel talks,
Do you know Baba?
I was saying, I was chatting with this girl on Inch, and then, she wrote this thing on her profile. I'm like, oh,
Mm.
my love language. There's like the prompt on it, just like my love, like
Mhm.
not having to ask. And I was like, if I just meet someone today, how do you want to me to know what you want, for
Do you know
fuck's sake? Like,
a big
how do you want me to know? Like, it's like, bro, like, I'm swearing, sorry. How do you want me to know what I was like, bro, what do you want me to do? Read your mind. Anyway,
So
Samuel.
there is this guy. I really love his shows. You actually introduced me to him. Martin Anime, I think. Anime?
I mean,
Scorsese.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the comedian. And he
Comedian,
always
yeah.
asks this question whenever I brings people out, and he's like, "Where would you take her on a first date?" And most of the time, when these guys respond, they will say things. They will say things that you obviously know that they are interested in. I'll
Yeah.
take there's this sushi spot on this spot. I think it's really
Mm-hmm.
nice. Blah blah blah. And I've only seen maybe one guy say something like wherever she wants. Only one
Mm-hmm.
guy in all those episodes, right? Which then brings me to the point of the dating. This has been going off Israel's last point, basically saying that actually it's weird when you meet someone you're dating, you ask them what are the things you like to do. They start giving you some weird lists, right? And you're like, okay, let's go out. Let's go maybe for coffee or something, right? And
Yeah.
they're like, I'm an high class babe, I don't do coffee. Or maybe the coffee just doesn't seem or works with them, right? For whatever reason. Now, in those cases, you haven't gotten enough information to lead. But to,
Mm-hmm.
to basically say, okay, this is where we could go, whatever. But it becomes a problem with them because then they would say you are a man that cannot lead because you are
Yeah,
not
that I should
taking
know what they want.
responsibility for the relationship. I just met you. I haven't even
Do
seen you
you
in person.
get that's the thing?
And I
God
just am
damn it.
seeing you in
Like, I
person.
just met you, god damn it. That's what I actually get. That's what frustrates me.
If you
What
love it
frustrates
just so
me,
goddamn much, then do it. God damn
yeah.
it.
What
Fucking
frustrates
do
me
it
so much,
yourself.
what frustrates me so much is that people, it's just like, I think people, generally, the summary of the story is that people forget that people like different things,
Mm,
right? And people mind different things. Like,
Yeah.
and when we just meet, the problem is like, obviously, I at this point, Michael and Samuel, I've known them for a while. I know what they like. I know what they don't like. Stuff like that, right? That happens over time. But if I just
Yeah.
met you, number one is I didn't even meet you physically. That's first thing. Let's say I met you on age. I've not even seen you before, and I'm trying to get us to go to meet for the first time physically. I don't know what you want. I, I'm saying because I can relate to this. I don't know what. Look at me. I don't know
Oh,
what you want.
oh
Like,
my.
bro. And it's like, wait, so it becomes like girls think it becomes unsexy when I'm not asking that, what do you want
What do
to
you
do?
want to do?
It's because I want you to have a good time.
Yes.
Bro, me
Yes.
left to me, let's go to the arcade and be happy. But
Arcade.
girls,
Let's go to Starbucks. Sit
do
there
you
and
get
that anyway, that's me anyway. Or
me? I
let's go
just want
play
to have fun
game.
anyway. It's
And
like,
can you see the difference
can you
between
see
what is
how
the
we are
arcade thing?
different? Do you get
Me,
like
I can't. None of these options don't even appeal to me.
You
Like,
are
what
going to
is all
live
this?
me.
and
Like,
this is even just guys talking. So it's like, bro. So it's just interesting, anyways. It
Yeah.
is
I think there's
interesting.
this thing where people think that there's a global standard of romance, and they
Yeah.
think that you should be able
Mm.
to. So they think you should be able to fit into that global standard. And the problem with the standards is that it's usually maybe media and stuff like that, for example. But I've realized that some people don't have. This might sound like an attack, but some people don't have individual personalities. So they don't have desires. So what they want what they saw on TV last week.
Exactly.
If what they
Yeah.
saw on TV changes, that's what they begin to want the next thing they see on TV
Mhm.
next week. So for people like that, what they are thinking is that, sure, you've not seen that what is trending now
Do
is
you
red
guys
roses and
you
bouquet.
didn't see
So they
what
are
Kim
thinking,
Kardashian, what
yeah,
Red roses and
but because
bouquet.
you are
Jay
a
Z did to
person where,
Beyonce?
yeah, but because you are like, you have your personality, you have a level of individualism, and there's a
Mhm.
way in which you navigate life that is very specific to you. You are thinking they probably have the same. So
Yeah.
you're like, oh, instead of, for example, if you meet me and I don't open my mouth, if we start talking, if anyone we meet on the train, I think Israel, there was this person I met on the train that I'll show you, and you're talking, I'll probably just
Yeah.
be listening to you. It
Mhm.
will take you asking me to understand, oh, Michael actually likes this. They get it. But if you think, oh, because of this, oh, let's go to a restaurant or something. That's not. I was telling someone today that would be so funny to me, like going to like a restaurant maybe to try out food because I only eat to survive. So to me, it's
Yeah.
like we're not trying out anything yet. This is not a fun experience for me. But the only way to know is to ask. But some people are thinking that a definition of a date is obviously a fancy restaurant, red lip gloss, lipstick, and
Nice
Mhm.
dresses.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like I don't know because of all those standards that people see online, they expect that you should also use your brain and say, "Oh, the Uber is waiting outside. Get in."
Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
get it's like, oh, you
yeah.
want 50 shade of girl? It's like, oh, I ordered a gown
And the same
for
thing
you.
happens with sex because people don't.
Yeah.
The same thing happens with sex because people don't ask questions. So you end up in the sex thing, in the room doing what you're not supposed to be doing,
Doing what you're
and
not supposed to be
and
doing.
I feel like you can, before you destroy
You
me,
can request for
you
what
can
you
legit,
do you
yeah,
get?
you
You
can
can
ask
request
that.
for
Oh,
what you want.
yeah, like, oh,
Ah,
I mean, and also like it's people. I feel like people think that requesting, like the very act of requesting for something, make it
It's
less
not
romantic. It's
romantic.
also why
yes,
Exactly.
when
yes, there is
when I
that.
started doing birthday wish lists, and somebody was like, "Oh, your friends should know what you want." I'm like, that is
I
so
don't know, bro.
idiotic,
I
because
actually don't
like,
know what any of you want,
I
but
don't
bro,
know
it's
what you
also like
want.
what I wanted yesterday. I might have gotten it today. How would you know? Shey, when
Exactly.
it was
How
now,
would you
like,
know?
Someone, for example, wanted to get me I think
I was
Christmas
just
gifts,
about to
and he
talk
tried
about that.
he's tried his so damn best to get me books from the authors that I love so much. But guess what? I have books from all of those. I have all the authors' books already. How was I supposed to know when I don't post my library to you guys
Yeah,
every
yeah.
single day? Is
It was
somebody
supposed
thinking,
to
"Oh my
be a
god,
surprise, and I
let me
was
surprise
anxious
Michael
doing a
with"?
surprise. I had to message Michael that I've ordered gift, or don't go and buy a new one. Oh, and he was like, "Oh,
I
I already
already
have the
bought these books like since when I was in Lagos. Imagine somebody wanting to get me. My mother is releasing a new book now. Somebody wanted to surprise me with that book. A waiting multi pre-order. Like something that I've already pre-ordered the moment the announcement came out. That is going to land on my doorstep.
Yeah, yeah,
That I'm going to go to my mother's event and sign it the moment she comes to London. The best thing to do is to, people think requesting is unromantic, like, oh, a birthday
yeah.
wish list. You're telling your friends what you want. It's so crude. They should guess it. That's why they do nonsense surprise. But they will not ask. They will not.
What
They
they
will not
want
ask you
exactly.
what you want. They will be surprising you with things that you will not have to fake the joy. You will not have to say,
You'll
"Oh
be
my
like,
God, it's
oh
so nice."
wow.
We're like, I don't need this thing. Like, I don't. This is a reflection of you. For example, I wouldn't just buy you guys books
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah,
for gifts. That would be so myopic because I'm just looking at my phone. I'm like, oh, I like books. Let me distribute
yeah.
books. So
Hmm.
I don't know. Like, it's just open your mouth and ask. Like you're an adult. Use your mouth and use the language that you've learned to communicate.
Yeah,
Requesting for something does not make it less romantic or less mushy. And yeah, people want to post on Twitter anyway. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't have to ask.
yeah.
Actually,
Do you,
damn it.
I was going to make a joke. Do you remember this
Hmm?
thing? Speak in the language you understand. Michael, do you remember? Or do you remember? I'm hoping you guys really remember. And you're not just laughing for
For you
laughing
to not
sake.
remember, I remember the upper room.
Oh, exactly.
So
Okay, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, that's it. Speaking the
That
language you
yeah.
understand.
no, those
Days
were
of your,
days.
those were days.
Let's just
When we're moving stuff. But
let's
Michael, you've not
just
answered the question. Maybe you answer the
yeah,
question
yeah.
and then we can end.
Let me answer the question, then I'll ask my Twitter question. Well, it's Samuel's question, right?
No,
Okay,
your
okay.
question.
My question is
Yeah.
about yeah. I think I'm probably like a 7 or a 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm a 7 because I'm in a place where I realize that I'm not gonna lie to you, it would bang to have someone here. It's like
Yeah.
I'm having a good time in life and I want to have that good time with somebody. That's literally
Yeah.
the only way I can think about it. Like I'm having what I could consider to be a good time, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I want to have this good time with someone. That's
Mm-hmm.
literally when I was in Lagos, I wasn't really particular about marriage because I'm like, Lagos, like inside of this Lagos, they
You
get
know
it.
this
But
robot here.
now, yeah, like they get it. But constantly, I feel like I'm on a 7,
Mm-hmm.
strongly tilting towards 8. To be honest, yeah,
That's
I
good.
feel like the only thing that probably needs to balance for me now would be finances
Mm-hmm.
for me to like say, oh, I want to hit the ground running. Like I want to pop the cherry or whatever the language is. Like
From the
I feel
cherry
like
sounds so
once I
good.
get the
Cherry.
finances like in check and I
Yeah.
have as much money as I think I should have with as much
How
flexibility
much
in
would that
life,
be?
I don't think it's a matter of the number, but as a matter of the sources.
Mm.
So for example, now if I'm in a place where you are now, where you have a steady career, like your job, and then let's say
Yeah.
your YouTube is bringing instead of bringing, let's say it's bringing 5K per month, or let's say,
Yeah.
or the upwards of 5K per month,
Mm-hmm.
do you get it? So you have your job and then you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that. Do you get it? I would potentially be in a place where I could consider, and I'm not dating someone that obviously is jobless. But like I'm not marrying someone that does not have a source of income. I
Yeah,
already
yeah.
created that mindset. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I think in that particular position, I would be good to go. And again, maybe the place where the podcast is already making maybe 1K as well, or 500 or something like something ridiculous. So it's not necessarily about the amount. It's about the peace of mind that comes from the fact that something is coming from the north, something is coming from the
Mm-hmm.
west, something is coming from the south, and then my partner is also bringing something because the amounts can fluctuate. Let's say I lose my
Yeah.
job now, and so
Yeah.
what? Do you get it? What is
Mhm.
going to keep it going is the other sources. So for me, it's more of how much financial stability I have, and less about money in bank. Maybe for example, if I have substantial investments, some people have houses that is bringing them some cool rents in the UK, for example. It's not excessive, but they know that there's something coming in. So yeah,
It's not so much about like stability in terms of like inflow. It's more about like how much of how you think, like what your thought about money is. Like you're not anxious about your financial state. I
yeah.
guess is yeah.
You're not just about your financial state, and also not your financial state begins to take. When I was in Lagos, a major part of my daily thinking was money.
I
Since
see.
I moved here, it has reduced. I
Hmm.
want it to reduce even more. Like for example, I wanted to. When I was in Lagos, I used to look forward to payday. This month, sometimes I forget which one is payday, like which one to
Yeah.
this is because I
Mm-hmm.
don't. It's not like you've finished spending your money
Yeah,
before
yeah.
payday. I would get to a point where I don't even care about payday
A
as
payday
much
because
anymore. Do you get
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Because it's like even when payday comes, the money just goes to where it's supposed to go.
Yeah,
Investment
yeah.
here, rent here, all of those things. Not like
Exactly, yeah.
well, thank God, let me quickly go and buy this. Do you
Yeah,
get it?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's I feel like that's where I would want to get to. We should
I
probably
see.
talk about finances one day on the podcast. Yeah, but my
Yeah.
question is something I wrote a response to your question where you were talking about all these people that have this societal definition of what qualifies for a breakup and what does not qualify. Most of those people you probably don't envy their relationship. So there's no need to be taking advice for them, to be honest. That's all I'm gonna say, never lie. But this is the question. On Twitter, on Twitter, the world of chaos, a lady comes to tell us that a man has driven a friend to the hospital at
Oh, I
night
saw it.
because she has cramps.
I saw it.
And I think she has broken up from the information that we have so far. So the question is that as a man, a relationship man, do you get it? Obviously, your baby is not even the same as it's you. So,
Mhm.
because, yeah, would you, is that something that, does that make sense to you?
That's
That,
100%
oh,
something I would do.
what did you say?
To
100%
drive
something I
someone
would do.
else to the hospital because they needed to get there.
Calm down. This
That's
is,
basically it.
calm down.
The only
Calm
difference
down.
is
Okay.
it changes to a
I'm going
woman.
to,
Go on.
I'm going to rephrase this now.
Okay.
This girl calls you. I'm like, oh my God, Israel, I'm having cramps right now. Do you mind taking me to the hospital and everything?
Okay.
You have a babe, obviously. And
Okay.
you're like, oh my God, sure, no problem. And you drive them to the hospital at night
Okay.
because they have cramps. Is
Okay.
that like, Israel,
Does that
does that
change
make sense to
anything
you?
from the first
Yes
thing you
or
just
no?
said?
I need
Basically
to put
driving
some vim.
someone.
I need to put some
Basically,
emotional vim to it. There's no
basically,
someone, it's a lady. It's a lady
And
that has her cramps.
the fact
it
that
doesn't matter to me whether it's a lady or not. It's the fact that
Okay.
someone
Okay.
needed medical help and they called
Okay.
you
Okay.
and you drove them. You
Okay.
didn't. So
and the fact that
Okay.
they
and
will call me at that time means that they are no stranger to me. So they are important.
do you get like what do you mean? Like
100% I'm going to go grab them.
if
All right.
all
Okay.
what do you mean? Even if funny
Okay.
thing is that even if it was a stranger, someone that I didn't know, like or someone
Yeah.
that I don't talk to, obviously a stranger doesn't have my number,
Yeah.
but someone that I
Yeah.
don't talk to, and they call me and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, Israel, I need help right now. I'm having cramps. Can you please come drive me to the hospital?" It's like,
Yeah.
and I drive them. What are you saying? I
Yeah. So
shouldn't drive them.
your baby is concerned about why you are the one that this person who
Now
is
that's
an
our
adult
insecurities to deal
woman
with. I'm
is
sorry.
calling at
That's our
night.
insecurities to
I
deal
You
with.
are a partnered man.
I
A
guess they
partnered
should.
man.
I guess they shouldn't ask me. They should ask the girl why she called me.
That's the
They
thing.
shouldn't
They are
ask me
going to
why
ask you
she called
because
me
why did you make yourself available to be called at such times
because I have a
See,
as
phone number and
as
I
a
meet
man?
people. Because I
this is
have a phone
actually the
number and I
thing.
meet
This
people.
relationship
I'm
is not going to
actually
last. That's actually
I'm
what I'm
actually
going to say.
realizing that there are
Yeah.
people that don't have opposite gender relationships that are
Mm.
platonic, that are they're not gay, they're platonic, right? So a straight guy with another straight girl. I'm realizing now that it's way more common than usual because I grew up in an
I mean,
environment. I don't know,
people think it's a red flag for you to have a
female
So I'm
friend
friends.
reading
that is
out. This is the original tweet, guys.
yeah.
Original tweet says one issue I had with my man before was his obsessive need to be everyone's hero. One time he drove to take
Obsessive
a
need.
female friend to the hospital because she had period cramps. We argued about it, so I went out and told him I had gone to help my male friend with his blue balls.
She's
12
actually
million, 12 million impressions.
With his
you
blue
just
balls.
showed the world that you're an insecure person that doesn't care about the health of the next
What is
woman.
No,
blue balls?
this
What's blue
this
balls
man
anyways?
this man was in pain from his blue balls,
What's blue
and
balls?
No,
she
blue
went
balls
I'm
to the
gonna
is
search
hospital.
it.
is a myth actually. Apparently, it's a myth, but anyway, you search it and find it.
I'm sure somewhere has searched it, but you please search.
Of course, I have searched it. It's a really interesting research topic.
Exactly,
Anyway,
I agree.
this is the thing, yeah. I value my friendship. I don't care what you have under you. I don't care what you identify as. You are my friend. I value you. If you need me, you can trust me. Now, I would also recognize the fact, and I always say this. I always say it whenever I'm talking to any girl, I'm like, first of all, just so you know, I'm not cutting out the women in my life for you. I'm not doing it,
Okay.
right? My job is to ensure that they understand the boundaries in my life. If you come in, I'm not cutting anybody for you. I'm not going to lose my female friendships for you.
Yeah.
Now, I would also recognize the boundaries that I have with you. I would uphold the relationship commitments we have, and I would uphold the relationship commitments I have with them, right? Recognizing the part you play in my life. If you expect me to all of a sudden stop doing things for my female friends because you are insecure, for me, that's a red flag and it's clear as day. I'm actually going to walk out of the relationship because I'm not breaking up with my female friends because of you. If you my past relationships, my partner would have access to my phone, right? Have access to my contacts. I'm meeting any girl, you know who she is, you know where I met her, you know how I met her, all of those things. I'm transparent with it. But if you expect me, just on the whim that she's a woman, you expect me to let go of her, I'm sorry. You are the one getting out of my life. I really don't care. I really don't.
Yeah, because your partner does not matter to you, according to this. That's all I'm getting from
No,
you right now.
because I
So
think
so
that
what
you
so
would
what
drive
what
enough.
So Samuel, you would drive to take a female friend in quotes to the hospital because she had period cramps. Would you
Let,
also
let,
mind if she had
let,
gone out to help her male friend with his blue balls?
so hold on,
it's
Samuel,
a
let me
different
respond to that, please.
context now.
Can I respond to
Blue
that?
balls, according to the
What
dictionary, is
yeah, I know what
epididymal hypertension.
so
Hypertension,
so
Samuel.
so so Samuel,
Wait, let
Samuel,
me
listen to it. Samuel, listen, Michael, listen to it. What I was going to ask is, what do you mean by help out? I think
Help
that's
out.
the question.
It depends on the
uh
help that the person
No,
needs.
no, no,
The
it
help that the
doesn't.
lady needed was to go to the
So
hospital.
if
The
if
help,
the help was actually I can't drive and I need
yeah,
someone to drive me to the hospital, I wouldn't mind, to be
okay.
honest. No matter,
You
it's a
wouldn't mind your
medical
babe driving
driving
this blue
a
bald man to the hospital,
actually,
right?
actually,
I wouldn't
the
mind, no
the
matter how
pain
much,
would
no
only
matter how much
pass.
you make it. Actually, no matter how much you make it sound bad, I wouldn't mind, to be honest. Right?
All right.
That was how I said.
Yeah.
That was how I said.
Yes.
What do you mean? What do you
Israel,
mean by?
Israel, you would mind because the solution to it is not hospital. It's when
You,
they have, when have
you,
an orgasm
you're
they
telling him
stop
as
being
if you've not
around.
read definition
So
that
no, no, no,
blue
no.
balls come
So
from lack of a resultant of orgasm or
okay, okay,
whatever.
okay. So which is why I'm saying that I've not read it too much. I just quickly did a quick glance, and I said
Yeah.
that if the solution was that they were taking them to the hospital, I said that,
Mm.
right? I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind. Do you get?
Yeah.
Which was I was
Mhm.
like, you can't just say help and let
Yeah.
that cover that somebody took another person to the hospital.
And it's not the
That
same thing.
doesn't. It's not. It's
Let,
you're like
let me make it even
trivializing what that
simpler.
means. What do you
Let
mean
me
by
make it
help?
even
Like
simpler, right?
obviously we're adults. Help could mean that you helped them to like orgasm or
Finish.
something like that,
Yeah.
right?
Uh,
But what this person did not do anything sexual. Oh, hello, I'm feeling cramp, which means I can't
yeah.
drive, right? And
Mhm.
it's these same ladies that will be like it's this same kind of girls that are breaking up because somebody helped them. That'll be like, oh, men should learn more about the female anatomy. Should know that when we are on our period,
Mm-hmm.
our moods
Mm.
change. We can't walk correctly. Sometimes
Mm.
we are like
Mm-hmm.
all those kind of things. And it's like, oh, I'm trying to help my friend that is in pains because they can't drive. Right?
Mm.
The solution to that is to take them and they even put she even shot herself in the leg. The fact that she said drove to the hospital, right?
Yeah.
And you are saying you want to go help someone with the blue bus, which means you did something sexual, which is
With
obviously cheating. What
cheating.
are we saying?
It's not the
Come on.
same thing.
What are we saying?
It's
It's
not the
not the
same
same
thing.
thing.
So
No.
No matter
somebody
how
here
much you try to
says
make it look bad.
No.
sometimes it's all about setting boundaries and making sure people know when to call you and when not to call you.
For
There's
sure. I agree
see,
with
but
that.
it's
I
an
agree with that.
emergency. See,
I
this is
agree
the
with
thing.
that.
I'm not a pro, right? But I would say that if someone calls you, a woman calls you
Mm-hmm.
and say, "I need to get to
Mm-hmm.
the hospital. I'm having cramps." I don't think it's the
Mm-hmm.
normal cramps because women have dealt with this pain for a long time to be able to know
Mm-hmm.
the difference between one that requires the medical attention and one that does not. So if she has
Yeah.
to call me and say, "Oh, let's get out. I need to get to this point. I need to get to the hospital right now,"
Yeah.
it is serious. Like it is serious. So
What if your
And I think
babe does
what
not
if
does not
there's a place. I mean, obviously we've talked. I don't
like
know if it
somebody
was
has
this
already broken
episode.
up with this babe anyway?
I've broken up my mind already. We are done.
Actually, I do agree with Samuel on one thing that he said that you probably know that I don't have a lot of female friends or something like that. But I think if a girl is already pointing out and is already saying, "Oh, you have to call out your female friends," right? Which was one of the things that didn't work out with somebody that I used to date. It was like if you're already saying that, "Oh, I need to call out my female friends," even though you've not even seen me with any girl at all. I already
Yeah.
it means that you have to work on yourself, on your
Mm,
Yeah.
insecurity,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
not make it my own problem. I
Yeah.
mean, I know that people have been hurt in the past, right? People who have
Yeah.
had their boyfriends tell them that, oh, she's just a friend, and then
Don't bring
I
it
just
on
took her
me.
she's
to the
not just a
hospital.
friend. But which is another
Don't
thing
bring
that
it
I'm
on
gonna
me.
say is that as don't bring go and heal first before you go and heal on some things, or
Yeah.
make sure you are healing before you bring some things to me. Do you get?
God, I
So
beg
no,
you.
because I'm also trying to heal, because I'm also trying to like
No, yeah,
pull
don't mess
out
up
of
my
some
healing
bad
process.
behaviors. Do you get? So
Yeah.
don't come and be saying, oh, uh your ex said the
I'm
same
breaking
thing.
Somewhere.
up. Oh.
Like
I'm
don't
breaking
come
up.
and
Somewhere.
be
That's a
no no
wicked
no
person,
no.
Michael.
Don't come
That's
and
a
be saying
wicked
like
person.
so I would say rather work on yourself first
Yeah.
right? Before you start bringing that, and like don't project. Which is the summary is like don't project on me. And like I said, like I've said,
I'm just a chill guy.
boys have done bad things. Sure, boys
Mm.
have cheated and said, "Oh, she's just my friend." I'm not gonna. But don't
Okay.
until someone gives you a reason to doubt them,
Yes.
especially if
Yes.
it's a relationship. If you're going into a
Yes.
relationship, you're going. It's the same thing we've said about getting out and all those kind of things. Like if you're going into a new relationship, you need to give people the benefit of doubt and don't necessarily project things that have happened, things you read, because people read things like this on the internet and then they come and they're like, oh, all men cheat, or oh, and it's like, did your daddy cheat? Right? Or
Even if
maybe, even if he
got to do
cheated,
with me.
even if he cheated, what has that got to do with it?
Because you're a man with blue balls. Anyway, one of the quotes here says that they are booing you, but you are right. I'm only saying this because I'd never call a man in a relationship take him to justice before I call my mom, my cousins, or my female best friends. 2.1 million impressions. So the question now is that this is a woman saying that she would never call a man in a relationship when she has other people that she could have called. So why are you the one that they are calling?
Michael, if something happens to you medically now, are you likely to call a male or a female? Who is closer to you? It's a fucking sorry, I'm swearing. It's a female, right? I don't even know actually. I'm just guessing. Is it a male or a female?
I can never. But why are you putting me on it? What for? Why are you putting me on the spot? Because you know that is a female. What's that? What's all that? Please, that audience, please.
It's like I cannot answer this one.
But I'm just saying that. But I'm just saying that when people come
the way
up
my
with,
life no day strong like that.
You get? I'm just saying that when people, you get, like when people come up with things like that, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you're general. Like for example, if something happens to me medically, right? Maybe I'll call a male or something. But the males that are close to me don't have a car, right? So if the first male that the closest person that I know that stays in Burnaby that probably has a car, which is where I stay, is probably a female, right? So I'm probably going to call the person, or maybe I just.
And I'm guessing this person is in Nigeria, right?
They are not even. Okay.
Yeah, the person. Let me check where they are. It's either Nigeria or somewhere, people, but they're Nigeria.
If it's Nigeria, right, it makes sense that she's calling the guy because having a car in Nigeria is a luxury. It's a big luxury.
Maybe it's only the guy that has the car.
It's also like how many women want to be driving at night, though?
At night, Lagos. There's all those things. There's so many factors. There's so many factors that when you just like start and then doing blanket statement like that,
girl actually shows a picture into the kind of person she is. Her response. You are going to help a friend with blue balls. Like that already shows that you're actually
now you're like equating. You're equating taking someone. It's like say for example, you have your friend was like. You had a single, like someone that was pregnant and the boyfriend traveled or something, right? And then they called you because they were on, they were like, the English word escaped me.
They're trying to,
there's this.
I've forgotten the word.
Their labor, more or less, like,
their water has broken.
Their water has broken and they're like, oh, I need someone to drive me, right? And it's like, most likely you're good. For example, when they gave back to some of my sisters, it was like more a man that drove my mom to the hospital.
Yes.
So my dad should not be like, hello, why did you carry my wife?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, what are you saying?
It's on.
Yeah.
Like,
anyways.
Like, I'm
getting angry already.
That's actually why you should not spend time on Twitter. You guys see why I decided to stop using Twitter because
I saw the tweet. I just ignored it.
I'm glad
thank you for doing that. I ignored it and I did not share it, which is my New Year resolution of continuing. Ultimately, I think for me, it's usually like, do you want a kind partner or you want somebody who's just kind to you? Because you can't in one breath say you want because you guys know I've experienced this before. You guys know kind of relationship I've been with, and you know what my eyes went through when I was a certain person. You guys, I couldn't even do this. What are you talking about? Like, I'll be on Mr. Blood. Do you get it? So it's like, do you want a kind partner or you don't? If you want a kind partner, people are kind across board. Do you get it? And this thing, it's also like this thing it shows itself in some other ways too. For example, you're probably on the bus or something, and maybe there's a lady that is trying to go, and you stop for the lady to pass or something. Your baby's like,
you've seen videos like that,
or you open the door for
the lady. I open the door for everybody. That's a funny thing, whether male or female.
or a lady asks you that, or a lady on the bus asks you that, sorry, please, do you know where the next stop is? And you say it, and you're like, oh, like you're friendly about it, which is the way you usually talk normally.
Yeah.
You're friendly about it, and your baby's like, why are you flirting with her? And I'm like, I'm
I'm
not
just being
flirting, dude. This is actually how I talk, even if
I
the person is
talk.
shoe.
Do you
Yeah.
Like
Like
I
even
would,
with
I
their
would
issue.
be, yeah, I would be friendly naturally to the person. But yeah, people have
Do you know
PTSD
that
and
it was
stuff.
until I got to this when I got to the US, I
Mhm.
realized that people actually equate friendly with being nice, flirty with being nice. So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're
Yeah,
being nice to a woman, you're being flirty. And then I
yeah.
see narratives like a man would only be nice to you if he's trying to flirt with you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that
Which
is
takes us back
actually
to
a terrible narrative.
that lack of communication. Why can't
Yeah.
you? Why do you think I won't tell you if I want you? Why do you think I'll be doing kindness?
I'll be
Like
going around the corner. Like I'll
this
be
whole
going
lack of
around the
communication.
bush.
People
Like
are so obsessed with non-verbal communication. It's also why sexual harassment happens because people are like, oh, she wanted it. You think she does not have mouth? Like it's also like, what is it with all these reading
going around the
signs?
corner.
With this, yeah,
Yeah.
why did we turn to like sign? I mean,
So
with
annoying.
I'm
It's
going to
so
say the shape
annoying.
regeneration, but our obsession
Like
with signs and what are your signs and everything and trying to figure out people from there, it's obviously it's
like
prone to happen
why are
anyway.
we evolved animals that can talk if we're still acting like gorillas? We're
Goal.
still being like I don't get it. Like people will tell you that
Ah,
the vibe she's
The
giving,
vibes.
but can you confirm the vibe
Can
with
you
your
ask?
mouth?
Yeah, can
Do
you
you get it?
ask
Like
and
it's
be like,
like
or can you
you say, oh
talk
my
like,
god,
oh,
yeah.
and
I
some
don't
people
get it.
and some people is like, oh, I was trying to talk to the girl, but she was.
Yeah,
It's like, bro, like,
yeah,
just move on. It's
like
like,
yeah,
it's okay.
guy, if you
yeah,
can't say with your mouth, just
Just
get
move on. Yeah. It's
just get out
it's
of
a
yeah.
my
weird one,
shoes.
but yeah, this is an interesting episode, and we should have more of these rage.
Yeah, I
What
actually
are
have
they
another question, but I don't know if I should ask it now
No,
or we should
Don't rage
call it
bait
a
me.
day.
Don't
Even though
bridge bait me.
let's
even
call
though
it a
it's
day.
relationship related, but it's about. Let me just say it and then we'll come back to it for the next episode. It's about a 36-year-old man on Twitter who has
Yeah.
posted his picture and his criteria, his blood group, and everything, saying that he wants a partner, and the partner he wants has to be 24-year-old max, a virgin, not
Oh,
too fat, and everything. So yeah, you guys can talk. You can choose to talk about it now, or you can choose to end the podcast.
now
It's
But
that's
1 hour.
dating, like
It's 1 hour. I will talk about it in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching up to this point. If you really want us to talk about that, let us know. But it's they are rage baiting me, and I need to calm down. So thank you. Don't forget to like,
oh
share,
my god,
subscribe. Thank you for
yeah.
staying with us to the end, and
All
see
right,
ya.
bye guys. Have a good one. Yeah.